Welcome, everyone. We are going to get underway with our council meeting. We've just concluded our work session. This is our Tuesday, January 27th City Council meeting. And we are going to start our meeting with a pledge of allegiance and a prayer or thought. Our pledge of allegiance is going to be led today by Richard Watson. Richard.
Will everyone please stand and repeat after me? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Richard. And tonight, our thought or prayer is going to be offered by Council Member Dan Bell. And you are welcome to do so here from the dais or go to the podium, whichever you feel most comfortable.
I'll just do it here. Well, maybe I'll sit. Our Heavenly Father, as we bow before Thee, we are grateful for our many blessings. We're grateful to be here this evening and grateful for this wonderful city. We are grateful for those who serve our staff here and make this a wonderful place to live and to all the things that go on. We're grateful for those who come before us and for the sacrifices that have been made. We ask that Thy Spirit will be with us in this meeting as we contemplate those things which are important to the citizens here, that good decisions will be made. We pray that Thou would continue to bless those who serve in this city and the residents. We also would ask for a blessing that we might receive more moisture in our area, that we might have the resources we need for the water for the coming year. We're grateful for all the blessings we have in living in this wonderful place, and we ask and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is public comment. For those that haven't joined us for public comment before, we'll just go over a few housekeeping items. We allow public comment for 10 minutes at the start of each council meeting. We ask each person to adhere to a 2-minute limit. And you'll notice we have our clock here that will help us stay on our time limit. You're welcome to raise any issue that you would like. We do ask that you start with your name and your address. The second thing I would note there is you're welcome to address any item that is on our agenda or any item that is on your mind. This is a time for the public to address the council, so it won't necessarily be a discussion, but a time for us to listen and for you to offer comments. Depending on the issue you raise, we may be able to ask staff to step into a hallway to answer any questions, but we will be taking notes and may be able to address the items that you raise in a future meeting. So with that, we will go ahead and open up the public comment time for anyone to address the council. Please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Arnie Reel. You might be familiar, maybe not with my face, but probably a few. I can see a smile over there, sorry. I'm a pretty personal kind of guy. You're probably familiar with probably the last 4 or 5 emails I've sent out with a request. I'm here to just let you see who I am. Beth reminded me we're on the Handcart Days Committee together. Thank you for making me feel a little more calm and at ease, too. But the last time I was here was, I don't remember exactly how many years, but a few of you will know this hall was full, and it was a discussion over pickleball and the skater park at the Washington Park. So that's 3, 4, some odd years ago about that. But anyway, I'm here to do something similar, but I'm all by myself. I just wanted to publicly address the council and the mayor, again, just that way you can see me, and express my hope that you, along with all the people that I've made kind of new friends with at the EOS gym, in my neighborhood and my fellowship, probably about 30 to 40 people that have expressed they would love to see a challenge hill, challenge steps, challenge stairs, whatever you call it, at least go up for consideration for the RAP program as you consider that over the next couple months. And I will continue to read the news and notes, or in your newsletter, I should say. I don't know if you'll give us a heads up on when that review time will happen, but I will try and rally as many people as I can to come and show the support they would have. And I will say, with my last 17 seconds, the thought came into my mind. I know there's a lot that goes into reviews, budgeting, ROI, all those things, but the movie came to my mind, if you build it, they will come. So, anyway,
Thank you, and thank you. We've appreciated your correspondence.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Anyone else that would like to address the council? Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Andy Oblad. I'm a resident in Farmington. I'm running for Davis County Sheriff. Just want to introduce myself. I don't think I'll take the full 2 minutes. I've been in law enforcement for 28 years. I started in Salt Lake City way back when and retired there after 21 years as a lieutenant. And currently I work at the sheriff's office as a chief deputy. The current sheriff, Kelly Sparks, was elected in 2019, and he appointed me to be a chief deputy for the sheriff's office. I've been serving with him ever since, and he's retiring at the end of this year, and he's endorsing me to run for sheriff, and I am excited about the election, hoping to get to know you all, and I'll stay after and answer any questions anybody has for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. We uniquely appreciate what it's like to run, so wish you the best. Anyone else that would like to address the council, please? And if you'll share your name and address?
Yeah, my name is Charlie, address 1160 North, 200 West. And I'm here to speak as to the demand and the urging for this council to keep ICE out of Bountiful. We've been seeing across the country and instances of ICE violating the Constitution on a regular basis, and now we've seen them murdering us in the streets, and it is absolutely unacceptable. They feel and they are operating as if they are above the law and beholden to no standard, beholden to no law regulation that this country was founded upon. And in order to protect our citizens, to protect our communities, we have to keep ICE off of our streets. We cannot allow any agreements to take place between our law enforcement, between our communities, and ICE. As it stands right now, our government is directly lying to us about the very things that we see with our eyes. With official statements, official accounting of things that are actively on video that we can all see and assess for ourselves, and it is absolutely something that we cannot have in Bountiful, something that we cannot have in our cities and in our states. We also need to keep cognizant of our immigrant communities and protect them, because for our communities, our immigrants, our neighbors, they're not violent criminals. They're not people that we should be afraid of. They're people that enhance our culture, enhance our communities, and they need to be protected, and we need to keep ICE off our streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Anyone else that would, I'm sorry, Charlie, we didn't get your last name for our minutes. Would you mind? Hadia, thank you.
Padilla.
Hadia. Thank you. Please.
Hi, I am Isabel Milligan. I was not coming prepared to speak today, but I live right on the corner of Orchard Drive and 500 South, just 2 blocks up. I just want to bounce off of everything Charlie said and ask you guys, what is our plan? I live in, low-income housing, and I live amongst a lot of people of color, and I just want to ask you guys, are we going to accept this? These are my neighbors. They've been very friendly to me. We share food and needs and stuff. We take care of each other, and I just want to ask, are we going to treat my neighbors like they are these criminals, or are we going to protect them? Because it's really important to me that I go home every day and I see my same neighbors that are safe and happy and they've done nothing wrong. So I just want to ask you guys, are we going to come up with a plan beforehand, or are we just going to let the things that Charlie explained just go about in our neighborhoods? So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Isabel. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sophie McCoy. Currently, I reside at 3659 South, 4400 West. But as a kid, I grew up in Bountiful. My parents had split custody, so every other weekend, during the winter, I was lucky enough to go sledding across the street. That was my favorite place. Playing off of what they had said, both of them, Charlie and our other lucky fellow speaker, what is your guys' plan to keep ice out of Bountiful? Sorry, I get a little nervous speaking. It's very important to me because as a kid, I don't want to see someone get arrested. I don't want to see one of my friends at schools, parents taken away. I don't want to see them dragged off at school. Kids shouldn't be scared to go sledding across the street in fear that ice is going to take away their parents. The only thing they should be scared about is when someone makes that big hill and they hit their back coming off the hill, because that hurts. I'm sure you guys experience. I'm sure your guys' kids experience it when they come crying to you. I live amongst a very diverse community with a lot of fellow Hispanics, and they shouldn't be scared to go to work in fear of ICE. You guys have the power and have the opportunity to defend your people who live in this city, and I think it would be very important if you guys wanted to use it and protect them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right, please come forward. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sandy Oseguera. I live off 450 East, off of Davis. And I didn't come with this group, but I'm excited that they're here because, a couple weeks ago, my 19-year-old daughter's friend actually texted us that she saw an ICE vehicle on her street. It was marked, so she was able to identify it. And, she was terrified. And she called us because we're Mexican-American. And even though I speak perfect English, my kids have never set foot outside of the country, she felt like we were the most in danger because, we know that there's not a lot of diversity here, but the Mexican-American community is close. We are tight-knit, a lot of us. And so it was a way of signaling to others like what was going on, just to keep our eyes open. And then I spent a lot of my morning driving around some of the major streets, just making sure everything was going to be okay, because I have a son at Woods Cross and another son at Mueller Park. And they happen to be a little bit darker than I am, and unfortunately they have experienced more racism than I have as well, which I've talked to Davis County School District about. They've actually called me when there's been incidents. So I'm just to say that this is something that is affecting us already, and I think those are things that City Council could help with, as far as if we felt safe to report that back and get that information back, because we kind of did that on our own. But if we had a larger plan there, if businesses were able to identify themselves as, being able to keep ICE out, just those kinds of things. The city of Philadelphia is already making, they're making announcements about ICE not being able to use public property or city-owned land. So there are some things out there that I think that could be beneficial and just give us all a little bit more reassurance. That's it.
Thanks. Thank you, Sandy. So, council, and hold on just a minute for the audience. Traditionally, we have set aside 10 minutes, and that usually means that we'll take up to 5 public comments. Since we have some additional people who have come to attend tonight, I'd like to just use the prerogative of the mayor and just extend our public comment time and hear from all of those that would like to address us tonight, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure, that's
Okay.
good.
Thank you. If you'll come forward, give us your name and your address.
Hi, I'm Rain Green, 476 Canyon View Circle. I've gone to school here when I was younger at Orchard Elementary, and then I was supposed to go to Woods Cross, but I went to a different high school instead. So I similarly am sharing concerns about ICE and the immigration services that have been present in our area. My family was meant to help a immigrant family from Ukraine this past summer and onward. They are immigrants due to the Ukraine-Russian war, and their father is already here, but they were meant to come as along with them. Unfortunately, immigration services rejected their visas after they were pre-approved, and they are no longer allowed into the country. So their father is here alone, and his kids are still in a war-torn country. And I express these concerns along with everyone else here that ICE is going to continue separating these families and dealing great amounts of harm to our community. And I think that you guys are some of the best people to defend us against these people that want to tear apart families. They want to take authority over people when it's not needed. And I think that you guys are good at heart, and I really hope that you take these into consideration and push ICE out of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Emily Bagley, and I live at 397 West, 3300 South. I have a background in public health and violence prevention, and I'm also here today to echo much of what has already been said about keeping ICE out of Bountiful. I'm here because, to be frank and to not mince words, there are many people in my life that I love that are being affected by the actions of ICE. I grew up moving every 2 to 3 years and had the privilege of living in Illinois, Maryland, Saudi Arabia, Ohio, Switzerland, Arizona, Utah, Florida, and Bountiful's been actually the longest I've ever lived anywhere, coming on 8 years now. So crazy that I ended up here, but my life has been so enriched from all of these relationships, and I am who I am today largely because of the immigrants, refugees, and undocumented individuals in my life who became friends, neighbors, classmates, members of my local congregation, and community at large in each place that I've lived. And while I'm grateful for each influence on my own life, their value is not contingent on what they can do for me or for others in their community. The bottom line is their value lies in being human first. And again, I want to echo what's already been said by all of these incredible members of our community, that we're asking for you to protect us. We're asking for you to fulfill your constitutional oath to make sure, regardless of citizenship status, the people in Bountiful are safe and their rights are not being violated. We're asking that you do not partner with ICE in any way, that you do not lend any city resources to ICE. Currently, at least 10 counties across Utah have entered official agreements to work with ICE over this last year. Bountiful is not currently one of them. I urge this council and the city of Bountiful to refuse any or current future voluntary collaboration. We will send a list of resources on how you can fulfill that. And if you have any questions later, happy to talk with you in the future, but hope to be here again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Anyone else that would like to address the council that's come tonight? I have just one request.
Yeah,
I would ask if you can remove your mask as you address us.
very well.
Thank you. All
I
right.
have to give my real name?
We would prefer your real name for our minutes and our records.
Okay, can I just give my first name then?
I will accept your first name. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Sam, and I live in Farmington. May not be my city, but it is my county, and I just want to say, if ICE is killing us, even if we haven't been breaking the law, even if we have been doing nothing wrong, and are going to run smear campaigns against us anyway, no matter what we do, then the people have no incentive to actually follow the law when interacting with ICE, just in order to defend themselves. And if you don't want the violence that ICE is bringing to the country to come to Bountiful as well, then if you keep them out, you won't have to worry about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Anyone else?
Hi, my name's Rebecca Sluter. I live at 139 West, 200 South in Bountiful. This is my ancestral homeland. My family came here as pioneers and settled here and remain here to this day. I am also coming to echo the sentiments about my concern about the city cooperating with ICE. Even though we arrived at different conclusions in my family based on upbringing, I feel like our core values are the same, which is to love your neighbor and to support people that are, to treat them equally. And Sorry, I'm very nervous. Part of what I have always loved about living here is our immigrant communities. I do think that it enriches and makes us stronger. The church has a long history of helping bring families from other countries that are not safe and do not have the same opportunity, and they've always supported that, and I hope they'll continue to do so in regards to ICE. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Anyone else that would like to address the council tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comments section. Thank you for coming. You're always welcome to come and address the council. I know it can sometimes be a little bit nerve-wracking. We sometimes get nervous talking into the microphones too. So we appreciate whatever comments you bring, however you bring them to us, and know that you are sharing your most important thoughts with us. And so you're always welcome to come and do so. And as I mentioned at the beginning, because it's a public comment period and because we have an agenda that requires us to post those items that we're going to discuss in public 24 hours in advance, it's a time for us to listen. Hopefully you felt like you were heard. We've taken many notes, but we won't necessarily be addressing the topics you've raised as we move on to the other items on the agenda. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the agenda. We welcome all to stay for the rest of the agenda. We understand if some of the items on the agenda may not be necessarily what you were here to hear tonight, and choose to leave the meeting at this point, but you're always welcome to stay. So after public comment, the next item on our agenda is consideration of the minutes for our meeting on January 8th. I'd ask the council if they had had an opportunity to review the minutes and if anyone is prepared to make a motion.
Mayor, I've reviewed those, and I'm happy to make a motion that we approve them as printed.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilman Higginson to approve the minutes and a second from Councilwoman Barr. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are adopted unanimously. Now we will turn to council reports. And I would ask if we could start with Councilmember Higginson, if he has any council reports this evening.
I do have there's a couple of agenda items that we'll discuss a little bit later, and I won't touch on those. I will share, though, that the discussion we had about the new format for power appropriation in the western area back in December. The rules of the game that was described to us at that time have changed and may continue to change. Probably the best thing for me to do would be to ask Alan Johnson, when he gets up to take his agenda items, to maybe take a very brief minute and give you an update on that. We are still working to get our private generation certified so that it can be counted. It looks like the 3-year historical demand that we had as setting our baseline for this future program will now not be considered, and there will be some other less favorable criteria that we'll have to deal with, including buying blocks of power in sometimes 12 or 24-hour blocks rather than just during the hours when we need those peaking resources. So anyway, it was a little bit disconcerting to hear those things this morning in Power Commission meeting. I'm sure Alan can make it sound rosier than I have, although he didn't this morning. But that's my report for now. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Oh, let me mention as well, if I could, Councilmember Bell was there this morning to be recognized by the Power Commission, as well as our former colleague, Bryce Hewish. And it was good to see both of them in that meeting again and to see them get a bit of recognition for their dedicated service there. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Murray, any council reports?
Nothing tonight.
How are the mosquitoes?
I was going to say something, but I didn't. No reported mosquitoes this week, including by the Forest Service. They have not seen any mosquitoes.
Beautiful.
So, thank you.
Councilmember Child.
I'd like to report on the Bountiful Davis Art Center had an opening of their show Brave Like Eve. It was attended by 600 people, standing room only and shoulder to shoulder, which was excellent. We continue to find or to look for ways that we can let the public know what a great art center that is. And so I think that's my only report tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Barr.
Only to report that tonight I was able to experience firsthand our new dispatch operations with an emergency call for my family. And I'm happy to report that my concerns were promptly addressed, and I was told I would get a quick call back from another one of our emergency responders, and I did. And I was just very impressed with how it all went so smoothly, which I shouldn't be surprised, but it was a pleasant experience. So, in the midst of a scary experience. So,
Well, we're glad the report is that, though scary, it all came out right in the end, and you got the appropriate care that you all needed for the family event. Councilmember Bell.
I have no reports, thanks.
Okay. For my report, I will just alert the council, the South Davis Metro Fire District did not have a meeting in January, so our first meeting of 2026 will be in February. Our first meeting of the Council of Governments for 2026, I have picked up a new assignment serving on the Wasatch Front Regional Council Growth Committee, so we'll have some items going forward to report there on regional transportation issues. And then also want to report that we've continued having meetings on the Greenway project with our neighboring cities and working on that alignment. And I think we'll be talking about this in a future work session as well. But it's been a great project, and for our portion, we'll be looking at an alignment that's mostly on Orchard until about Bolton Elementary, and then moving on to 200 West. So we'll connect with our neighboring cities on the south end at Orchard and on the north end at 200 West. And that concludes my reports for tonight. Next item on the agenda is to consider approval of expenditures greater than $1,000 paid on January 7th and 14th of 2026. Have you had a chance to review those expenditures?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures greater than $1,000 paid on January 7th and 14th.
Can I ask a question before you do?
Yes.
Tyson, thanks for helping understand all these. I had a call with you, and that was really helpful. I just had a quick question. On the larger budget items, is it possible to tell if they're budgeted on here? There's no way on this report, right? We wouldn't know that.
Correct, yeah. It's not listed specifically at this point. And some are so generic in nature that it's hard to say, that specific vendor, that specific line item was a part of the detailed budget. So that might be a little bit challenging to say yes, but for the most part, these are, unless we specifically identify it or call it out, they almost have always been embedded in an approved budget.
That's what I figured, thanks.
So we have a motion from Councilman Murray, and then we had a question. Is anyone prepared to second the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Bell seconds. All in favor of approving the expenditures, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. So now we will move on to consideration of the approval of the purchase of 2 PMH-11 pad-mounted switch gears by Alan Johnson.
Yes, Mayor and Council, it's great to be here tonight with these two items, and I'll be glad to give you a rosy report for a few minutes afterwards. So The first item we had is the purchase of 2 S&C cans, and we have brought these to you them before, and I just, as a reminder, we have been single sourced in these cans. Number one, they're good cans, but the second one is the footprint and the cables inside. You can see there's a picture on the second page of where the cables come back up and tie in. So these all have to come out of the ground and hook in these same areas. And if you get a can that either the footprint's bigger or where the connections are different, then because our wires in conduit, we have to pull new conduits or wires to the conduit. And just as a reminder, this wire you see coming up currently today is $14 a foot. The termination on the side's close to $300. So going out and have to redo wiring is a very expensive proposition. The nice thing about having the same footprint is, in this case, we're looking to buy one because unfortunately in our world we have salt and moisture and it causes corrosion on cans. We got cans that are reaching 30 years old as this one that we're looking to replace and what purchase for, and it's starting to rust out. We can come back in here, de-energize it, which is a pretty good process to shut everything down to do it, but we can do it, disconnect the cables, lift the can off, put a new can on, hook it right back up and be back and running. It takes us typically about a day to do it, but it's something we do versus if we had to pull cables or rechange it, it could be days. The nice thing, if you have an automobile accident, which is an unplanned one, you can come back and do this much quicker than if you had to change it. So we've been single sourcing them at this point. So it'd be the Power Commission staff's recommendation that we purchase from Irby the 2 S&C PHM11s for the total price of $49,570. These 2 cans will be put into inventory till they're pulled out. I will point out, they've got almost a year. They're 55-week delivery. So it's all these things take a long time to get in. That's why we have to keep some in inventory in case we need them. So,
Councilmembers, any questions for Alan Johnson about this pad-mounted switchgear?
I do, just out of sheer curiosity. The can, is it can or cam?
can, it's like a CAN. Like,
Okay. The one that you were saying that is about 30 years old that will potentially need to be replaced, where is that?
You know, I really don't know. They come in and
Okay.
told me it's up in the southern end of the city, but I'm not exactly sure where it
Okay.
is.
It's
They
just
brought
on our-
in, here's a picture of it, and I didn't pay that much attention on the fact that we need to be getting moving. Then we realized we only had one in inventory, so.
Okay.
I
That was
should
just
know that
curiosity on
question.
my
and
part.
I can get you the address. I just should have that, but I didn't.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? If not, let's do a motion on this, and then I noted that Councilman Higginson wanted to have Alan give us an update from the Power Commission meeting, so.
Mayor,
let's
I'm
do the
happy to
motion
make a
first.
motion.
Thank you. Motion from Councilwoman Barr.
I propose that we approve the purchase of 2 PMH-11 pad-mounted switch gears, along with the necessary fuse holders from Irby in the total amount of $49,570.
Second.
We have a second from Councilmember Child. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. So Alan, we'll return to you for a quick update from the Power Commission meeting.
Well, the next one on the agenda, and I'm going to apologize right off the bat that when I come to pull printout, apparently I hit the wrong column when passing this on up to get it in your packet, where it says it's a Power Commission staff report versus City Council. So there'd be a couple minor issues in the fact that you are the City Council and the Power Commission. And it will not be saying, if approved in the morning, we'll bring it to you. But other than that, it was pretty much the same. So I apologize for hitting the wrong button. I didn't realize that till I pulled it off the agenda this morning, or hit print, so I apologize. But anyway, this item is one that I'm bringing for you. 65 years ago, March of 1961, Weber Basin, along with the Western Area Power, was going to build a transmission line from what was then the demarcation point where the city of Bountiful took power, which is now the track station where it was right there in 8th West and 5th South. And we took 46,000 volts there. They were going to build a line up and hit their pump station up by Mueller Elementary and also the Davis Boulevard, their treatment plant. So we didn't have two different lines. The city got with them and says, if you give us the money you were going to spend, we will give you a 65-year contract and we will maintain the line, provide wheeling, and do all that for them, which we have done. Well, 65 years is marched along, which that comes March of this year is when that contract expires. In the meantime, as we've been talking to them, realizing this was coming due, the federal government and the district, the Weber Basin District, is looking to move the title from the federal government to the district, which means if we wait a few months, because they anticipate having it done by the end of this current fiscal calendar year, that we will not have to go back through the federal government to get this contract amended. We can just deal strictly with the district. So what they're proposing is that they could do a 3-year contract extension, with the first one being 6 months after the deed to the equipment is sent to the district, we'd have a contract, or 2027, March of, 2029 at the latest, and we'd have to have a new one. It'd give us time either to, if it's not deeded to the district, to work with the federal government to get the contract extended. What this means is that we could have charged them a little bit for wheeling, but for a couple of years, we could also go back and factor that into the contract into the future. So there's not a lot less, but it could be a lot less work to get the contract approved through the district versus going through the federal government. Again, this has been reviewed by the city manager. Our city attorney has looked at it. So it'll be the Power Commission staff's recommendation that we approve this contract, that the mayor can sign it for a extension to the contract for the 65-year-old contract.
Any questions for Alan? Dan, do you have a question? You're just poised for a motion.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
No questions? Okay.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
make a motion to accept staff's recommendation to extend the contract between the United States Department of Energy, Western Area Power Administration, Colorado River Storage Project, and the City of Bountiful for the Weber Basin Project.
Second?
So we have a motion by Councilmember Bell and a second by Councilwoman Barr. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And now for your additional update that Richard requested.
Well, I'll do my best so you can still sleep tonight. I gave Richard it this morning in time that he had all day to work on it. But essentially, as we met in November on the Joint Power Commission City Council, we talked about the fact that Pacific Corp has joined the California ISO, which meant by default, everybody in their balancing authority, which includes UAMPS, which includes Bountiful City, has to meet the criteria. The constant that has not changed is this still becomes effective in May of 2026. However, right before Christmas, Pacific Corp, as we talked about the fact that they were going to be looking at hitting resource for the day ahead, what we had to have resources for, they were going to use a 3-year average. They have since changed that and decided that now, that really isn't going to work. They've hired a company that's going to provide an estimate for their system, and thereby a certain percentage will be sent to UAMPS, which by default comes back to Bountiful. By doing that, it leaves some question as to what's going to happen with our generation. Our current generation, which includes both our hydros and our power plant, not that we did anything different, they were just built prior to when Pacific Corp changed the model. And by the model just means they put it in, which meant we have to submit it in to get into the model. However, we did not build it in such, the metering and different items that we have to have materials will not be available by May. Originally, we assumed that we would be able to use what we've been traditionally using the generation for to cover our resource adequacy or that day ahead needs. There is some question whether that's going to happen or not. It is still in the works. We're still trying to sort it out. But we bring back, as I explained to Gary, I'm telling you, the sky's falling, and we gotta figure out how to fix it. So, I mean, I hesitate to come back and tell you these terrible news without a fix, but I don't have the fix. I just tell you, we will get to it, but these are the concerns that we have moving forward as we move back into it. So there's some question what we're gonna do with our generation. We have to buy blocks of power and such that if we can't use our plant, which is like 24% of our resource, because of Bountiful and our patterns that we've gone through before, we have a short pattern. People come home from work and our load comes up. Our generation works really well to fill that pattern. If we have to buy a block of power, it could be 16 hours, or if you're short a little bit at night, you may end up buying 24 hours for say 5 or 6 hours, which would make us excess. So there could be some additional costs that's floating around. Those things are still worked out as we're still working through UAMPS, and UAMPS is still working through it. As I pointed out, you had UAMPS that was really concerned, then they kind of got a handle, and now it's back to, they're scrambling to try and understand what their changing currency is. The other thing is we brought up is,
I have a question before you go too much further, because I don't want to forget it and miss it. Are these changes to the modeling changes that are within Rocky Mountain Power's control or within the ISO?
this would be Rocky Mountain that has, every morning, like say for tomorrow morning, this morning, Pacific Corp would have had this estimate of what their needs are for the next day, and they will submit that to UAMPS for their share. By 9 o'clock, UAMPS has got to get it back to Pacific Corp, who then by 10 o'clock has to submit it into the California ISO to accept it or go back through. So this model change is something Pacific Corp has done, and it's something they're currently in the process of getting FERC to approve this change.
Is it within, it's within Rocky Mountain's ability to accommodate a system that would allow us to use the resources the way we have with a 3-year look back, or not allow it? It's within their power?
Excuse me. The use of our resources is under the Cal ISO, what their requirements are. So in order to get into the model, and then that model has to be submitted to California ISO to be used. So,
okay, I was just wondering where the pressure point is, if it's with our friends at Rocky, or if it's somewhere further removed.
No, it's Rocky is the balancing authority that has changed the three-year average to the estimate. The fact of our plant has to be submitted into Pacific Corp, which then has to be submitted to California, the ISO. So there's two parties that still have to do it. The other issue that brings some concern is in Bountiful, we get a big portion of our power out of the Colorado River. As you'll notice, some of the things that's going to be concerning is we have no moisture. I mean, there's no snow in the mountain. If you want to believe the Farmer's Almanac, I looked it up today, they're saying that in this part of the country it's supposed to be colder and wetter. I hope it's right. But you have a tendency, what you see is what you're going to get. As we know, is in the next 10-day forecast, there's really essentially no moisture coming. That means that we're not going to have snow and moisture on our mountains or up in the Uintas. So our hydropower is going to be diminished. So if it doesn't get snow, but the bigger than that, the Colorado River, Lake Powell, that reservoir is dropping down. They've currently cut our power that we're using through the winter months. We're only getting 60% of what we normally get. My concern is what could happen if we don't get moisture, what could happen through this summer into this winter. So we may end up losing that portion of it. And we remember here several years ago when that happened, when things rolled together and it cost the city a fair amount of money to get through. The other thing is WAPA, the Western Area Power, the ones that runs the Lake Powell, has got to go back in, and they have to deal now with the California ISO. There's two offers that we have. Our Colorado River, we're able to schedule in 4 days in advance. We can look at the schedule and we can pattern our power to cover our needs in the evening. That's been diminished this year, but we still have got some ability. The other thing, they have what they call replacement power, which means we can go buy it as more of a market price, but we can still buy it from them under our contract amount. Because in the winter months, we've got 28 megawatts. We're currently getting 15. So we've got 15 or 16 megawatts we can use on a day that we're short. I thought we'd be able to use that to meet some of this resource adequacy. Well, they've now come back with the ruling of how WAPA is going to work with them, and you have to do it a month in advance. So if you're going to do it, you have to look out and line out what it's going to be for a month. So that means we don't have the ability to follow load, or like I say, if Air Products is up or down. So there's some new issues that has shown up since November that's got us a little concerned that we're still working our way back through, so.
Alan, that was a depressing update. Thanks. I suppose I would just remind that, there's a unique opportunity while our legislature is in session. I know there was a bill that was contemplated about the EDAM, and so we might uniquely consider if we need to apply pressure from our legislative friends that this is the window to do it. Any other questions for Alan about his cheerful news?
I don't know, I have a question. I thought, I was at that meeting with Richard, and I thought it was, Alan gave some really good explanation on some of the things, the efforts that are being made by UAMPS, trying to get people's attention, the California ISO, and trying to apply some pressure or wherever they can to get to the realities of what we're dealing with. And I don't know, Alan, if you have a comment on that, or maybe, kind of what you see as, you have interaction with UAMPS, you have interaction with a number. What do you see happening the next, let's say the next month? What, if anything, do you see, happening?
I did have a visit for about an hour with Mason yesterday, and that's some of these things we did talk about. And he gave me some frustration of what's going on. And he has been meeting with the California SO, number one, to try and work on getting us a bridge for our generation, but also the concern that they keep changing the rules, and maybe rather this May start time should be pushed back some. Like, again, at this point, it hasn't happened, but like I said, we are spending, through UAMPS, spending some time trying to meet with UAMPS, trying to meet with Pacific Corp and ISO to work our way back through it. The tough thing is it's tough to fight FERC once they get the ruling on what they're going to do. So there is pressure going on as much as we can at that point. And like I say, we'll just continue working our way through it. So.
One last comment, two, if I may. One of the things Alan pointed out in the meeting is we're not the only city in this predicament. So there's others that are in a similar spot that are dealing with this. And then I just wanted to echo comment that Richard made to begin with. Just so appreciate you, Alan, and your staff. It's been really my pleasure. I'll take this moment to just say it, for 12 years to sit on that Power Commission and to be part of that and to hear the thoughtful discussion that goes on. And we're really represented well in Bountiful City by your group and you personally. And just a great appreciation for what you do. We don't worry about it as citizens. We turn the power on and it comes on, but there's an awful lot that goes on there, and you stay abreast of that. And right now is a little bit of a crazy time, but thank you for all that you do. We're grateful.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And we do have a do group, and I will say we will stay on top of it till we figure out how to mitigate it as best possible to get through this. And I will say I suspect to have our generation in the model by 2027 with the necessary equipment to have it in, and our generation would be a moot point at that point. It's a short timing that we've had to work on it, so, but thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for that additional update.
Well, thank
We've
you.
reached the end of our agenda, so I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Child and a second from Councilmember Higginson. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.